Good morning. Today is Sunday, December 29th, I think. Something. It's the last Sunday in December, and I'm grateful to be here. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Kristen. I come to you from Baltimore County, Maryland, and this is my digital diary of my making. I am primarily a knitter, but I also do crochet and sewing and spinning and just all around a little bit of crafty mischief. And I'd really like to get back into weaving in the new year. So if that interests you at all, please stick around. And if you are not new here, thank you so much for coming back, hanging out with me and my little chaotic rants. So today is going to be not a traditional podcast, but we're going to go through the things I made this year, what my stats are. I'm going to give you a brief overview of like the projects I've been working on. And we're probably not going to get into goals because I don't want to make this video too long. My attention span's about 30 minutes. So I like to keep my videos about 30 minutes. It's probably just a me issue. What else do I want to talk about? I think that's it. Okay, let me grab some chapstick and let's get into it. So the first thing I want to update you on is my Camisole number 9. And I'm calling this a finished object, even though it's technically not finished. And we'll get into why. But here it is, covered in all manner of junk because it's just been laying out. The last time you saw it, it was here where this marker was. And I told you I didn't want to work on it anymore because my needle kept coming unscrewed and it was driving me crazy. And that happened the entire time, but I just did it out of spite because I felt like it and I didn't want to buy a new needle. But I did end up switching the one that kept coming unscrewed to the other side. So it wasn't the one that I was moving as much, and that did help. The finishing edges are kind of janky, and that's a me issue and not a pattern issue. I just couldn't see anything with this black yarn, and I was not patient. But I'll mostly wear this under things, so whatever. And I knit 2 together and bound off just like the pattern said to do, but it was too tight. So I went ahead and ripped it out before I got super upset about it. And what I'm doing right now is I bound off the entire edge and I'm just sewing it down. So I hope you can see that. Obviously I did take out my lifeline that I was using as a guide to sew down. So hopefully this doesn't turn out super janky, but I imagine I'll tuck this into my sweatpants. Generally, that's how I'm going to wear this. So thoughts on it. The pattern is perfectly fine. My execution of the pattern was relatively poor, and I would not use knitting for olive merino. Again, it is super splitty. I don't necessarily like the texture of it, and I think there's better yarns out there, more bang for your buck. So that's just my opinion on that. And the other finished object I have is my pressed flowers cardigan. This is completely blocked, and I think I talked about it in the last podcast, but I'm not exactly sure. I did not give this as a gift. I ended up giving the Fidalgo cardigan, and I think that was a really good choice because I know I said that this was not my vibe, but it's so good. I love wearing it. I wore it to Christmas Eve. I wore it to Christmas Day. I have a pair of brown, I don't know what they are. I think they're just polo pants. And it matches perfectly. I wore it with like a cute little Ugg boot, and it was such a vibe. I loved it so much. I think it complements my hair and my eye color. And I love wearing brown. So I know some people don't like to do that, but I don't have an issue with it. I am almost all the way through my second check yes sock. And for the green and the like charcoaly gray. So that pattern will be finished very soon. I have to get through the heel turn for the ribbed, or I already have it written for the non-ribbed version, but I have to make sure I get the heel turn correct for the ribbed version of it. And I just need to write a little blurb about if you want to do it with no ribbing at all, like the entire sock with no ribbing. If you just want to use stranded color work, just tips and tricks on that, because obviously you can do whatever you want with your own socks. And I want to provide like a little bit of a recipe for that. And I think that's all I have to share. I don't really have any projects on my, duh. Give me 1 second. Let me go get my actual big project that I'm working on. Okay, so I don't know how I forgot that this was a thing, but I've been talking about this for weeks, actually, how I wanted to be a part of the Michele Fraz test knit for the Fidalgo Pullover. And I was going to knit it in the West Yorkshire spinners, that blue yarn that I ripped out the Midland cardigan with. I was accepted into the test knit, so yay. And I did not use that yarn because when I was knitting with it, it was too loose. It was not producing a nice fabric. And so I switched gears and I went with the Scout from Kelborn Woolens in the color Mulberry Heather. And I do think this is producing a better fabric, but it's also a complete magnet for every speck of lint and dust and dog hair that there is. So we haven't seen the sun here in Maryland in probably weeks at this point. We do have every light on in my house and all the lamps over here. So hopefully this is going to show up on camera, but I'll show you closer up what this is looking like. It desperately needs to be blocked. This yarn is showing all of the imperfections, but when it's blocked, maybe I can block it out for you. I think it looks really nice. This is knit on a fairly big gauge for the yarn. So it's calling for a DK weight using 4.5 millimeter needles. And I've done that in the past. I believe the clay sweater called for that as well. Had no problem with the West Yorkshire spinners, actually. But with the pattern, it just feels like less dense than I'm used to. And that's okay. But it's going along well. I've joined in the body. I'm going to knit the rest of this ball of yarn, and then I'm going to start on my sleeves, and then I will finish my body out and block it. So far, so good. I'm really happy with it. I love a V-neck pullover. I think it's just going to be super cute. So that is that. Okay, so those are all my projects. Let's transition in to everything I knit this year. We're not going to go through stats or anything like that, like what the yarn is, whatever. If you want to see that, that's all going to be on my Ravelry page. I'm just going to give you what my thoughts are on the pattern, on how it wore throughout the year, if I would make it again, stuff like that. We will start with the one I finished like January 1st of this year, and that is the Trove Sweater. Now, the main color is commercial. The contrasting colors is all of my hand spun. So this is a special sweater to me. I love this. I love how it fits. The only thing I don't like is I think the arms are too short. So the reason that this is out right now is I'm going to rip back and I'm going to add 2 little repeats of my contrasting colors, and I'm going to reknit the cuffs. So the reason I'm going to do that is because I've already used up this yarn. I actually used this yarn in the Pressed Flowers cardigan. And so I'm just going to, I'm going to rip back, use this yarn in the actual sweater, and then I will use the leftovers from this cardigan in this. So if there's a dye lot change, it's not like a stripe in the middle of like the sleeve. Well, at the end of the sleeve. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, I would give this pattern is an A. My execution is an A. And as soon as I fix these sleeves, it's going to be an A+. A little bit more work for me to do, but I love it. Okay. This sweater is the Textile Pullover. And when I saw it, it was a test knit for me. When I saw it, I knew I needed this in my life. I followed the instructions to a T, except for the shoulder shaping. And I provide really detailed instructions how I did that in my Ravelry notes for this pattern. I did follow the ease instructions, and I really wish I would have knit like 2 sizes smaller. So I do think that that is something that I might do. I do not wear this sweater ever, like ever, ever, ever. As you can see with all these ends hanging out everywhere. I didn't even finish like adding the contrasting color stripes. I think I'm gonna rip it out, and I may knit it again. If I did knit it again, I would make little bobbins of these contrasting colors and use that instead of using a crochet hook later on and adding them in. And I'd like to reclaim this yarn and use it again for something else. I think it's fair to rate this pattern given that it was a test knit, and I have not checked the pattern since I provided my inputs on it, but my execution was a C. Next, my double date sweater. I love this. We know that I love this. And I would make 100 more of these. So I would do it again. I would wear this everywhere. This is an A+. I think I might actually do this again in the new year. I was thinking about it, like how awesome would it be to have a sweater that still has this texture, but it uses all of the same color. Or I do have Miss Babs Yowza and the Polworth Silk DK. I can't remember what it's called. It'll come to me maybe. In the same exact color, white peppercorn. And maybe I could use the Polworth for the contrasting color stripes. So it's like a different fiber. That might be really cool. But it's all like monotone because it's the same color. Pattern is an A+, execution is an A+. So I would make this again. I love this sweater. Moving on to the stripe hype. We know the saga of the stripe hype. I have come to like this sweater. I don't love it. I wish there was short row shaping in the back. If I ever made this again, I would add short row shaping to make it fit a little bit better. I would not use fingering weight yarn held double. It makes it heavy in my opinion. The stripes are definitely more dense and less stretchy than my DK weight yarn. And overall, I would give this a B because of the lack of short row shaping. There's a little bit of a fit issue and just the choices that I made with my pattern is a B, execution is a B. My Calm Down cardigan. This stays in my office and I keep it hung up in my closet in my office because if I get cold, I pull this bad boy out and put it on. It is knit in Cascade 220. It is thick, which is a worsted and it calls for a DK weight. So I did make some design choices with this and I'm really happy that I did because she's thick, she's cozy, she's comfy, she goes with everything. I love this. I love the pattern. It took forever to knit and it was well worth it. Pattern is an A+, execution is an A. Okay. This is the Skyline Tee. I was making this for my mom. It ended up a little too short for her. She didn't like it. It was a little tight. I think it's super cute. I will wear this in the summer. And would I make this again? Yes, I would make this again. I would make it in a different type of yarn. I would do completely a cotton yarn or a really, really lightweight merino silk or wool silk blend. I would not use bamboo again. I'm learning that like bamboo and alpaca are not my favorites to work with. So that's what I learned from this project. And moving forward, I will not be using this yarn again, but the pattern was written really well. I thought it looks really cute on, and I would give this pattern is an A, execution is a B-. Finally, of the things I have here with me, because I am not doing accessories, socks, or things I've given away, such as the Fidalgo cardigan, is my Farnham sweater. I like this a lot. I use good wool. I've talked about good wool in length at this point. It is softening up. I just need to keep washing it. Pattern was really, really well written. I would give the pattern an A+, and I would give my execution of it an A. The wearability of it right now is like a C, only because I find the yarn really itchy. So that's my thoughts on all the garments that I have knit in 2025. It was not the most productive year for me because I took those like 3.5, 4 months off from knitting. And that's okay. That was just the season of life that I was in. So let's talk stats. All right, so yarn out. Of all the things I knit, that's also including my accessories such as hats and socks and anything that I've given away. Out, I have knit 4,462 grams, which equates to approximately 14,143 yards. I made a large purchase of yarn on Christmas Day from Miss Babs to get 6 skeins of Yowza. So my numbers are inflated. I do not have that yarn yet, but I anticipate that I will have it this year. And even if I don't, I still bought it this year. So I'm including it in this year's numbers. So my in for this year is a little bit higher than my out. I brought in 4,550 grams of yarn, and that is approximately 11,003 yards. So I still knit more yards than I brought in, but grams wise, if I finish those 2 pairs of socks, I think maybe I can be positive for the year. Like I knit more than I brought in grams wise. That Yowza alone, the 6 skeins of Yowza that I'm bringing in are 1,350 yards. Or I'm sorry, 1,350 grams, 1,350 grams, and that's approximately 3,300 yards. So that's that. Those are my stats for the year. This is what I've created for the year. We'll go into goals when I get my mind a little situated on exactly what I want to do. I enjoyed the bingo board, but I definitely fell off using it. So I don't know if I'll do that again, or if I'll do a make 9, or if I'll just not have goals. I don't know. I don't really know what's going to work best for me this year, but I've enjoyed making these videos. I hope that you find humor or value, or at least just companionship in watching these. I appreciate you for watching them. It's been a weird year. I started these videos right before Mr. Kraft lost his job. I'm very, very happy to say that in the new year, he is starting a new job. So it's been a weird 10 months. It's been a difficult 10 months. I feel like I've learned a lot, and like the word of the year is humility. I have learned that our household, we don't need as much as we were buying. I think that we were being a little bit too consumeristic. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but going without has really showed us what's important. And I think we're going to definitely be taking that into the new year. And so my word of the year for 2026 is going to be gratitude, because we're finally like making it to the other side of like this difficult time. And I have a lot to be thankful for. I have a lot to look forward to in the new year. I think that we're bringing healthy habits into this next year. We're going to the gym. We're not spending as much. We're focusing on things that matter. We're eating healthy. I've rearranged my office. I feel very happy with the way that things are looking and feeling. Like it just feels better, even though it's exactly the same furniture and pretty much exactly the same position. It just feels lighter, brighter, even though it's dreary as hell outside. I don't know. It's just all made up in my head, but I still feel better, lighter, and just thankful moving into this next year. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for hanging out with me this year. It's crazy to think I've almost been doing these videos for almost a year. I know things get chaotic and I either talk really slow or really quickly. So just thanks for hanging out. Anyway, please let me know. What are you working on? What are you doing? Do you have a favorite thing that I knit this year? Do you have a favorite thing that you knit this year if you're not a knitter or crafter? What do you do? What's your favorite color? More importantly, what's your favorite dinosaur? My favorite dinosaur is the hadrosaur. And if your favorite dinosaur is also the hadrosaur, we could be best friends because it's a superior dinosaur for sure. Okay, let's end it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I'm wishing you love, peace, and all the crafty mojo going into next year. Thank you so much. Bye.